Hello and good evening, and thank you for taking time to learn more about Building a Better Future Phase 2 this evening. Thank you all for who are able to come out. It's a little windy out there today. So we want to also thank you for being here, as well as we have several district and school leaders here as well. So with our agenda tonight, what will we be discussing? We'll be talking about the phases of what Building a Better Future Phase 2 actually is, the community input that helped shape this work, which took place over several years, key information on the one question ballot being presented on November 7th, takeaways from the presentation, voting information, and lastly, all of you will have the opportunity to actually ask questions. So we'll have a 30-minute presentation first, and then a transition to an open house style format. There you will be able to be welcome to go up to any district school leaders, any questions that you have. It will be available here for you to ask the questions that you want. If for any reason you prefer to ask your question anonymously, you'll be able to do that via the electronic forms at the end. So let's go. What's Osseo Area Schools? Osseo Area Schools encompasses all or parts of 8 different communities, ranging from Rogers to Cochrane. In the far northwest to parts of Plymouth in the south and Brooklyn Center to the east. The 2 largest communities we serve are Brooklyn Park and Maple Grove, with the city of Osseo located right in the center. We're the 5th largest school district in the state of Minnesota, serving more than 21,000 students. 60% of our students are students of color, and in the state, we are the 4th highest number of students of color. Our facilities include, are you ready? 17 pre-K through 5 elementary schools, 4 grades 6 through 8 middle schools, 3 grade 9 through 12 comprehensive high schools, an area learning center or alternative high school, early childhood centers, that's plural, special program sites, and a full comprehensive online 279 online, which serves kindergarten through 12th grade. So, there's all this school finance lingo which can be confusing, so our goal is to put it in layman's terms. So what are levies and what are bonds? Okay. Essentially, levies are for learning support, staff in most cases, and bonds are for building. I always learned it as levies for learning, bonds for building. Levies fund the day-to-day learning operations of a school district. In most cases, this is staffing. Levies can also fund teaching and learning materials, classroom supports, and technology tools and services. Typically, levies have a 10-year lifespan. Now, bonds fund major renovations or additions to the physical school buildings themselves. Such improvements cannot be resourced through the facility maintenance fund. So typically, bonds have a 20-year lifespan or more. So a referendum is being held on an election for levies and or bonds. So our last levy referendum was held last year on November 8th of 22, and a bond referendum will be held this year, November 7th of 23. So levies and bonds are independent of one another and must be utilized for the designated purpose. So for Osseo Area Schools specifically, Building a Better Future had 2 phases, has 2 phases, and thus 2 referendums. The possibility of having back-to-back referendums was mentioned in the fall of 2022. At that time, we shared the research needed to be completed and analyzed for that bond portion. That research has since been completed. Let's take just a quick high-level view of both phases of Building a Better Future. So phase 1 in 2022 focused on learning support needs, then operating levy, and capital projects or technology levy. Mainly the staff and tools needed to fund safety, learning, and technology needs. The community showed their support for this phase, phase 1, and there's more detailed information if you ever want to have on phase 1 is at the referendum site at district279.org/betterfuture. So phase 2, or Building a Better Future, this November 7th of 2023, will focus on school building needs. So the physical structures of our sites. Just for you to be informed, it has been more than 20 years since voters have been asked to reinvest in our school buildings specifically. This final phase of our building future meets all the overall needs of our schools for the foreseeable future. So, the phase 2 plan. The phase 2 plan was created through a research-based process that involves students, staff, parents, caregivers, and community members. And this work actually started to look, that started with a look at facilities back at 2018. We've been working on this process. So in 2019, temporary school building adjustments were made within our existing budgets. The task force recommended an extensive study to continue as there were many more school buildings that had needs that needed to be addressed. The following committees began further studying this project. The Enrollment and Capacity Management Advisory Committee has continued to study student enrollment, capacity, and building use. The group has found that there is a significant growth in portions of our district. Future housing and redevelopment are expected in these same areas. These are also some district facilities that are under capacity and that needs to be addressed in our district as well. The Furniture and Next Generation Learning Space group study furniture needs that would be best suited and adaptable to today's learning needs. They found that district-wide media centers and classroom improvements are required to meet these learning needs. Our next group, the Career Technical Education group, looked at expansions to our current career technical education classes at each one of our comprehensive high schools and the Osseo Area Learning Center. In January of 2022, the board approved 9 specialty strands created from this group's research. Facility adjustments and additional spaces are needed to continue to build this learning paths for our scholars. The Community Education Group looked at maximizing the use of space for the community education programming and community needs requested through the facility use process. This group found that dedicating an entire building to community education programming and adding space for early education in areas frequently requested for community use are required to meet the needs. The Specialized Service Groups looked at learning needs for special education, gifted and talented, and English language programs. This group found that adjusting classrooms, dedicating areas for specialized purposes, and enabling flexibility of these areas are required to meet the learning needs of these programs. Our magnet schools. The magnet schools group looked at our current magnet school program, science, technology, engineering, and math, STEAM, and health, and pathways that could potentially be added. The group found that dedicating areas for specialized purposes and adding space are required to meet the learning needs in these areas. So, next came our strategic work in 2020. A daily desired experience was determined from that study. What staff, students, and families would like to see the educational experience to be here in Osseo area schools. Then in 2023, the Oversight Task Force and the school board reviewed this exhaustive work. All work revealed that there was critical school building needs with regards to safety, learning, and space. So here's a peek at some additional data gathered. A scientifically valid community survey in 2023 indicated strong support for Osseo area schools. The survey was completed by the Morris Leatherman Company. 82% of survey respondents said good or excellent on the quality of education. 87% said all or most scholars' needs are being met. 84% said they are proud of our schools and would recommend them to others. 82% said it's important for district schools to have similar facilities. 80% said flexible classroom design is important for learning. And 88% said student enrollment will increase over the next 5 years. Because we're being so serious, let's have a little fun here. Here's a fun, lighthearted look at the last time Osseo area schools held a bond referendum. And we're gonna be able to tell each other's age when we go through this. Okay. So 20 years ago, the average web surfer spent 46 minutes a day online. It sounds like much of that time was spent waiting for the pages to load. 16 seconds per page was the norm. You guys remember that? And only 9.1% of the world's population was using the internet at that time. AOL. So AOL was the most popular website, and the favorite website searches included Spider-Man, Shakira, and Star Wars. As well, Friendster was the most popular social media site with 3 million members. Comparatively, Facebook has nearly 3 billion members today. Friends was a popular TV show. American Idol had its first season. Time flies really quick, doesn't it? And what we know for sure is that learning needs have significantly changed over time over those 20 years. So next we have, so our staff and parents shared information in a phase 2 video that we would like to share with you. And afterwards, John Morstead, our Executive Director of Finance and Operations, will share some additional detail with you. So let's take a look.
Osseo is an amazing school district, and we provide amazing experiences and opportunities for our students, but we also need the facilities to be able to support those opportunities and experiences.
When speaking of Osseo area schools, I just speak with pride. We want to become that one community for all, that all your voices are valued and heard, and pride just speaks from everything that we do.
When we first asked last year for our taxpayers to support phase 1, the learning initiatives for Build a Better Future, we mentioned that this is step 1 of 2 steps. Our taxpayers supported us, we're very grateful for that, and now we are here with phase 2.
In phase 2 of Building a Better Future, residents of Osseo area schools will have the opportunity to address critical school building needs. This will be presented in one question on November 7th's ballot. This question would prioritize secure learning environments with enhanced safety, spaces for math, science, and career programs, specialized learning services, and growing student populations. It would also create similar learning experiences at all district schools, including program opportunities, class size levels, and the functionality of spaces. If approved by voters, the tax impact on a $300,000 home or property would be less than $7 a month.
One of the things I appreciate about Osseo is how leaders have engaged parents, students, teachers, administration to look at what does each building, what does each space need. The security landscape is really evolving for school districts, and there's a lot that still needs to be done. Phase 2 is really more about the buildings themselves. All of our schools have needs today to improve the security around their perimeter.
Feeling safe in the environment and building that I'm in, it makes me feel calm enough to do my work, knowing that I don't have to worry about any other problems.
We have a student population and a staff population that is now 25% larger than when this building was open. The need is there to make this a learning environment that is more conducive to our needs.
I was here at Maple Grove in 2008 when I graduated. The lunch line, it was, you walk in and it took a minute to get through. Now it's 5-10 minutes to get through the lunch line because there's so many kids in there, there's no room. My experience here as a special ed teacher is kind of just go with the flow of things. We have about 150 students, and with that we have 3 classrooms that we can use. We've lost some breakout rooms that we're supposed to be using, and those breakout rooms used to be able to do that one-on-one instruction that our students need.
As I move to 2 sections of 7 classrooms per grade level next year, we don't have the physical space.
Our school is a STEAM magnet, and the room that we're standing in right now is our makerspace. If this referendum passes, then we will have the opportunity to provide learning spaces where our kids can have hands-on, minds-on experiences.
Obviously, the world is changing consistently, constantly. If we don't create opportunities in schools for kids to be prepared to function in that world of change, we are going to be behind.
Traditional classroom setting is very much built to provide for the group. And what we know now more than ever is each student has their individual skill sets, they have their individual learning styles. And so what is needed is a flexible learning environment where each student's learning style can be maximized by the instructional delivery, complemented by the classroom setting.
Individualized learning is meeting the scholar where they're at, whether that means they're a gifted kid or they need interventions or they're an ELL student, and making sure that we've got the space and the resources and the tools to promote that type of learning, whatever they need.
The Build a Better Future plan, it is an intentional plan to utilize our resources for the benefit of our students, for the benefit of our staff, to enhance the pride in our various communities, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
I see our vision for Osseo area schools is to address the needs and the dreams of our students. So whether that be how they learn in the environment they're learning, what they want to learn in their environment, or even what they want to do once they leave Osseo area schools. We want to ensure that their goals are met, the parents' goals are met and the community goal is met in making sure that our students receive what they need.
Early voting starts Friday, September 22nd, and Election Day is Tuesday, November 7th. Learn more on how your ballot can impact building a better future at Osseo area schools by visiting district279.org/betterfuture.
All right. So as the video shares, the bond will be asked as one question on the November 7th ballot. Phase 2 addresses critical school building needs, expands on efforts already made in Phase 1, and continues strategic plan work. The priorities of this portion of the plan are secure learning environments with enhanced safety, spaces for math, science, and career programs, specialized learning services, and growing student populations, access to similar learning experiences at all district schools, including program opportunities, class size levels, and the functionality of spaces. Here's a little bit more detail into these three areas. Adding additional safety and security enhancements to all schools. Adding safe and secure entrances to Maple Grove Senior High, Osseo Senior High, and Park Center Senior High to reach the safety and security standards already in place at our other district schools. Expanding and modernizing career and technical education spaces at Maple Grove Senior High, the Osseo Area Learning Center, Osseo Senior High, and Park Center Senior High. And expanding and modernizing STEAM, or science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, spaces at our magnet schools. Updating classrooms at all schools to accommodate varied learning needs, including the specialized services of special education, gifted and talented and multilingual learners. Updating classrooms in common areas with new furniture and flexible learning spaces at all schools. Modernizing library media centers to be more resourceful and accommodating to teaching and learning needs at all schools. Adding an outdoor classroom to elementary and middle schools currently without such a space. Repurposing an existing elementary school to meet community education programming needs, including early childhood learning, adult basic education, and enrichment opportunities birth through adult. Adding classrooms and a larger cafeteria at Maple Grove Senior High to address current and predicted space constraints. Adding an elementary school in northwest Maple Grove to again address current and predicted space constraints. So you'll notice that some of our messaging is divided by area. The flyers shown here, for instance, have the colors of each of our traditional high schools. The details on them talk about the particular high school and the middle school or middle schools that reside within each of those cities, as well as the elementary schools within each of those cities. For the Osseo one, the feeder elementary schools are also included. The content on them is similar to what was just shared, but categorizes the needed improvements by area a bit more. When voters fill out their ballot, this is the question that they will see. This gives an idea of tax impact. The cost is just under $7 a month for the average $300,000 valued home in Osseo area schools. $7 on November 7th. Of course, not every residential unit falls within this figure. I'd encourage community members to go to our tax impact calculator in the FAQ section of our website at district279.org/betterfuture to determine the tax impact on your specific property. This resource is available to assist residential, commercial, and apartment non-homestead property owners. These are just some examples of how our school building needs might be addressed, visually speaking. This would be if the referendum were to be approved by voters. Committees would be made of staff, families, and community members to help determine the final direction, again, if the referendum were to be approved. So what happens if the referendum should fail? School building projects to improve safety and security would not proceed. Crowded conditions and large class sizes would continue. Attendance boundary adjustments would be required at the elementary, middle, and high school levels to provide relief, which is estimated to move up to 6,000 students from their current schools. Such changes would be reoccurring because of a continually growing student enrollment, resulting in increased service costs and longer bus rides. School buildings and learning spaces would continue to age and become less relevant. This would limit learning resources demanded by our students and families, particularly in math, science, and career learning spaces, specialized learning spaces, and library media centers. Inconsistent learning experiences would continue. Budget cuts would ultimately be required. These cuts are projected to be at least $31 million, or approximately 300 jobs across the district. Attendance boundaries will change regardless of the outcome of the election. If approved, attendance boundaries will change at the elementary and middle school levels. This means fewer students would be impacted overall. Additionally, parameters would be adhered to more positively. As an example, reasonable bus rides. If not approved, attendance boundaries will change at the elementary, middle, and high school level. This means more students will be impacted. Additionally, parameters may not be adhered to. Same example, longer bus rides. And this would be ineffective, and changes may have to happen year over year. At this time, I will turn back over to Dr. Hyde.
Thank you, General. So this summarizes things well. It's I think it's our way of doing a David Letterman's skit here or something. It's the 10 reasons why bond referendum has been held this fall. So number 10, it continues the phase 1 work and strategic plan work of building a better future. Phase 2 builds upon the work that already has been started and the district's new strategic plan. These are set to provide our families with the learning experience they desire and deserve. Number 9, our evaluation revealed that there were needs. 7 committees, study groups extensively looked at school building needs since 2018. Their work revealed critical safety, security, teaching and learning, and general building space needs. The Oversight Task Force reviewed all these needs and made final recommendations to the school board, the Phase 2 plan. Along this research journey, staff, families, and community members were all involved. Number 8, the survey respondents agreed on needs. Surveys showed that the majority of the community members see the need for proposed projects within the Building a Better Future Phase 2 plan. Additionally, more than 80% of respondents said flexible learning spaces are having consistent offerings among school buildings are important. Almost 90% believe student enrollment will increase over the next 5 years. Number 7, our aging school buildings. The average age of our school building is 47 years old. Our newest school, Woodland Elementary School, actually opened in 2002. The oldest school, where you're at today, Osseo Senior High School, opened in 1952. School buildings' needs have significantly changed over this time. Inconsistent learning experiences. Although lots of efforts have been put in providing consistency amongst district schools, inconsistency continues to be our reality. This includes how space functions, the type of learning opportunities available, and the class size levels. Overcrowded schools with more students coming. Number 5, I dropped the numbers. Extensive research shows that student enrollment is going to continue to grow. Schools in growth areas are experiencing higher class sizes, classes on carts, tight hallways, and common areas, and lunches standing up on the floor or on the windowsill. Number 4, addressing students needing specialized services in learning. More students continue to need specialized learning services, which is expanding the special spaces of special education, gifted and talented, multilingual learners. This unique learning needs of these students are not being fully met as this result. Science, math, and career tech education opportunities. Several data points, including a school choice survey, show that families are interested in the science, technology, engineering, arts, math programs, as well as career and technology education programs within our learning environment. After extensive research, these offerings have been added, but appropriate spaces are needed to properly accommodate them. Number 2, to maintain and enhance safety security standards. The safety and security of our students, staff, and community is our highest priority of the district. Improvements are needed at every school to maintain and enhance current safety and security standards. And then number 1, the choice is yours. The choice is in our community's hands. Local taxpayers are responsible for funding school buildings, renovations, and constructions. Sorry about that, I'm a local taxpayer too, I let it in the room. This is done through bond referendums that give voters the choice. So where are we now? Early voting for Building a Better Future Phase 2 referendum has already started. Community members can vote between now and November 6th by the U.S. mail or in person. Where do you vote? To vote early by mail, request an early voting ballot via the City of Brooklyn Park's election website. To vote early in person, you can head to Brooklyn Park Hall's multiple purpose room between 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. These voting processes apply to all Osseo area school voters, including those that reside in the cities of Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park, Cochran, Dayton, Maple Grove, Osseo, Plymouth, and Rogers. Election day is Tuesday, November 7, 2023. Community members can vote at their appropriate polling location in the state. It will be important to go to pollfinder.sos.mn.gov to find your election day polling location. It probably will not be at your regular election place, but there will be postcards going out to let you know where you can vote. The Secretary of State website is continually being updated. So this is the best place for community members to go to learn. This is the best place for community members to learn about several election details, including their polling location, voter registration status, and/or those wanting to complete the forms. So if there's ever any additional information that you want, our website will always be a great resource. This is where you can find the greatest amount of information. We do also have a few hotlines that is going as well. Via email at betterfuture@district279.org. And of course, you can always call at 763-391-8990. So before we wrap this up, here's just a quick reminder of the one ballot question. Phase 2 addresses critical school building needs, expand on efforts already made in Phase 1, and continues the work of the strategic plan. The first one, secure learning environments with enhanced safety. The second one, spaces for math, science, and career programs, specialized learning services, and growing student populations. The last one, access a similar learning experience at all district schools, including program opportunities, class size levels, and the functionality of the spaces that have been used at each of our sites. So I thank you for the time today, for those that will come today, and for those that are online. Our presentation has concluded at this time. So our district and school leadership and school leadership will be throughout the room for the next half hour to answer any questions that you may have. If you prefer, you can ask your questions digitally. To do this, you can connect to the Thought Exchange using a QR code or website address. Or you can fill out a Google form, which is available in 5 languages at our Chromebook station. Any digital responses you share will, of course, remain anonymous. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to learn more about Building a Better Future Phase 2. And from Kim Heil, we want to thank you, our community, for supporting our district. We wouldn't be where we're at today without you. Thank you.